The whole world awaits me, holding my breath, reaching up to take me, holding my breath. The whole world awaits me, holding my breath, reaching up to take me.
This year promises to be a spectacular affair as beauties of the Caribbean compete on one stage for the title of Miss Caribbean United. Come see contestants from the islands of Trinidad, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Nevis, St. Vincent, Anguilla, Dominica, Venezuela, Antigua, Dominican Republic, Margarita, Barbados, and host country Grenada. It's the 2018 Miss Caribbean United pageant, Saturday, June 2nd at the Spice Basket, uniting the Caribbean through beauty.
Good morning to you, members of the media, and good morning to our listening and viewing public. Welcome to today's post-cabinet briefing. This morning, I am happy to welcome our Minister of Youth, Sport, Culture and the Arts, Honorable Nolan Cox. We also have with us, and we're very happy to welcome him, our superstar, Mr. Lyndon Victor. We know he would have done Grenada very proud at the recently held Commonwealth Games in Australia. And he's here this morning because government has a special presentation through Senator Cox here for him. So we'll first take that presentation, and then we'll transition to Senator Simon Steele and Senator Garraway, who will do the substantive post-cabinet presentation this morning. But before we do that, I want to welcome former Permanent Secretary, always Permanent Secretary, Vida Bruno. I'm not sure what capacity she is in this morning. She says she's representing Olympic Association. So we're welcoming her in that capacity. And Mr. Kwame Hippolyte from the Grenada Athletic Association, he's here as well as part of this presentation to Mr. Victor. Thank you, Senator Cox.
Thank you very much, Press Secretary. Let me take this opportunity to say a pleasant morning to our listening audience as well, and to extend a hearty welcome to our stakeholders, the Olympic Committee, dear friend, Mrs. Bruno, my cabinet colleague, and of course our special invited guest this morning, Lyndon, who has become a very good friend of mine of recently, and of course the media personnel. This morning, the purpose of our exercise this morning, I'm here on behalf of the Prime Minister, of course, and the government of Grenada. And the purpose of this is to take this opportunity to recognize all our athletes who would have performed and represent Grenada at the recently concluded Commonwealth Games, and also to recognize other sporting personnel who are making contributions towards the development of sports and, of course, representing Grenada. Grenada, in recent time, has really held its own in terms of accolades in the international sporting arena. And I want to, before we go into the substantive matter of this morning's presentation, I want to take this opportunity to just go through and to highlight some recent achievements by persons within the sporting arena who have been representing Grenada, proudly so. I want to start first by recognizing Kelsey Muriel Ross, our only gold medalist of the recently concluded Character Games in the Bahamas. She has a lot of potential. We are very excited about her. We believe that she's going to do well. When we had some feedback from persons at the game, we understand that the Bahamian who came first, who got the gold, she probably beat her by a couple of inches. We understand that from the time she saw her, she knew that she had competition. So we really want to congratulate Kelsey on that achievement, and we're looking for greater things from her going forward. Also, our local swimmers who continue to represent us well throughout the region. They have been very outstanding, and we want to congratulate GASA for the work they have been doing, and other persons who have been doing work in the Ministry of Sports in the area of swimming development. We want to recognize their contribution as well. Also, Anderson Peters, who got a silver medal at the Commonwealth Games. We want to recognize his contribution. He has been outstanding for us. We have been in communication with him as well, and we want to wish him all the best going forward. We also want to recognize Grenada's dominance in the throws. Recently, we had at the Junior College Championships gold medals for Josh Botang, Markim Felix, Candice Scott, and a bronze for Ariel St. John. They have been representing us very well, and we want to recognize their contribution in that regard. Also, a silver medal for Amanda Crawford in the NCCA Division II Athletics Championship. We want to recognize that contribution as well. Also, we had Braylon Taplin, who were here at the Grenada Invitational. He's one of our promising athletes as well, and a very good friend of mine, and a very good friend. He is in love with Grenada. He was here for the first time, and we want to, of course, recognize him. I know that he has some plans to see how we can develop the sport and athletics in Grenada. Also, we had Kanika Beckles. She represented us well at the Commonwealth Games, and she was here for the Invitational as well. We also want to take the opportunity to recognize the Pure Grenada Football Cup. That was a successful event, and we want to recognize the work of GFA and also the footballers, our national footballers who are working hard. I know they're working towards see how we can qualify for CONCACAF. So that's a tough task ahead of us, but we wish them all the best in that regard. And then we want to recognize National Primary School Championships, the Intercall, the Whitsuntide Games, all those other inter-parish tournaments, and persons who have performing those, and also most importantly, we want to recognize some of the private clubs like Track Blazers. They are doing very well, and we are observing the performance closely. We believe that there's an opportunity going forward for partnering with them to ensure that we continue to push athletics forward. This week, Anderson Peters is going to compete in the NCCA Championship in Oregon this weekend. This weekend, Kirani James returns to competition. We want to wish him all the best after 1 year off. We really want to wish him all the best in that regard. He competes in the Racers Grand Prix in Jamaica together with Braylon Taplin. Also this week we have Devon Smith who had returned to West Indies cricket, making the test side. We hope that he will be in the first 11 when that is announced very soon. West Indies playing against Sri Lanka. That first test takes place in Trinidad on Wednesday at the Queen's Park Oval. And of course, to recognize contribution from Lyndon Victor, who is here this morning with us, and his outstanding performance at the goal at the Commonwealth Games for the Decathlon event. We apart from recognizing Lyndon's performance, the Prime Minister and the Government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Sports, Youth Development, Culture, we want to take this opportunity to recognize a couple outstanding persons and indicate and also to announce some awards for them by way of special gifts from the Government of Grenada for those contributions. And at this time, I will take the opportunity to make those announcements so that the public can hear. We're looking at two sporting disciplines, athletics and cricket. For cricket, we have awarded to Afi Fletcher for outstanding contribution towards cricket, and of course at the 2016 Women's ICC World Cup Championship, 20,000 EC dollars and an official Grenadian passport. For Emmanuel Stewart, who is recently on the West Indies under-19 cricket captain, an official passport, and he has been receiving other support in terms of towards his education. Currently, he's at college in Barbados, Commonwealth College in Barbados, and also Kira Peters, an official passport. She is a member of the West Indies Women's International Cricket Team. On athletic side, we award Anderson Peters with an official Grenada passport, and we have made significant contributions and support to Anderson in the past for previous achievement, and so we're making this passport available to him to assist with his travels. Kurt Felix, the brother of Lyndon, 10,000 EC dollars and an official Grenadian passport. And of course, Lyndon Victor will be awarded one parcel of land, 25,000 EC dollars and an official Grenada passport. So we want to congratulate them. We believe that these awards and recognitions is fitting, and we believe that it is important that we send a message to our young sporting personnel that you are going to be rewarded for your achievements, and we believe that this will help motivate them and for them to perform better going forward. And so at this time, I want to take the opportunity to hand to Lyndon the check for 25,000 EC dollars. We have it ready here. I didn't bring any security. I tried to make it as inconspicuous as much as possible so that persons wouldn't believe that we had the money here. And so we want to hand that to Lyndon, and he has here the medal that he would have received. Also, he brought it for us to see, and this is my first time getting close to gold. I have not had an opportunity to perform at that level, but at least I can have an opportunity to at least hold solid gold in my hand this morning. So I mean, it's very heavy. I think it's about 5 pounds. So we really want to congratulate Lyndon, and we have for you here this morning. So Lyndon, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you representing Grenada. We really appreciate it. This is a fine young man. I've gotten to know him a couple of days. I'm really happy. I believe that he's going to do a lot much more great things for us. Thank you very much. Yes. You can sit. You can sit. Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has come together. I know Minister Cox couldn't do this on his own, so I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who has assisted in giving all of us this contribution, all the athletes that were named, my brother Anderson, Afi, you know, we've been working hard over the years, and I think it's very humbling anytime, no matter who it is, recognize your hard work. Every athlete just wants to be recognized, you know. I mean, not everybody's going to win a gold medal, but just a little recognition goes a long way. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of all the athletes that received something today. And I can personally say that this is just the beginning. I think that Grenada has a lot of talent, and we're gonna win a lot more gold medals. And if they know that these incentives are in place to when you win or when you make contribution to your island, I think the sports is gonna and culture is gonna really develop in Grenada. And I just want to say thanks again.
Well said. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And Victor, all the best. And Senator, okay. Any questions for them before?
Good morning. Congratulations to you. I just
Thank you.
want to know from you what's next for you. I know you said really have a lot of talent. This is just the beginning, but you personally, what's next?
Well, the next competition I'm going to do is the Central American and Caribbean Games in Colombia. I think that's in July, like July 19th or something. And after that, I'm going to shut my season down to get ready for World Championships next year.
How do you think you can help young athletes up and coming? I'm sure you see what happens during the Intercom Games. How do you think you can help to motivate them so that they succeed as much as possible? And put Grenada on the map as much as possible.
I'm glad that you asked that. Me, myself, and the Olympic Committee and the association, we're trying to put avenues in place where we can really help some of these athletes. Sometimes all they need is just some Gatorade after practice or during practice and just some experienced coaches, and my coach is willing to come down here and do some work. So that's actually in play as we speak right now. And I think with just this experience, with just having a good eye on some of the athletes, and just help some of the coaches that work and coach, just focus and just on coaching. I think that would make a big difference in the athlete's life in Grenada. Thank you.
Your interaction with him, how does it make you feel? And how we as sports minister hearing you to this still? But does it give you the encouragement and you see, of course, that the athletes in Grenada have the potential?
Thank you very much for that question. What I can tell you, every time I get an opportunity to meet with anyone who has excelled in sports, I believe that I'm privileged to have that opportunity to be here this morning, not just to sit with Lyndon, but for the opportunity to be the minister responsible for sports development throughout the state. I think it's very humbling, and that alone is enough to give me the motivation to go out and work as hard as I can for sporting personals, because I know it's not just preparing. It's a difficult process. It's a difficult life. Sometimes they have other challenges apart from on the track, and we from the ministry, we are very much cognizant of some of those challenges, and we are working tirelessly to see how we can address those. As you know, financing is one of those issues, one of those challenges, and we are looking to see how sustainable financing can be met for our athletes, especially those who are overseas. It's not easy. I know that it's not easy. We have been in dialogue with them, and we want them to know that we are paying attention and we are working to come up with a plan to see how we can address that as quickly as possible. You're welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Leslie actually asked the two sports questions that I had in mind for the two gentlemen, but I want to just switch a little bit, Senator, as I have you here in terms of culture. So just put in mind to
I'll try. Yes.
I want to get your thoughts on the submission of the resignation by the CEO of this SMC, Peter Hall, in terms of what's next for the ministry and getting someone to replace him as we prepare for Spice Mass 2018.
Well, really and truly, the ministry, we really don't have, we're not prepared to make a statement on that currently. But it's an administrative matter, and there are certain procedural measures that are in place to address any transition at that level. And as such, those things are taking place in the background. But I don't believe that the focus for us is on that. We have a lot of critical components that is important for Spice Master function, like our primary stakeholders. And I believe that there's a great opportunity for the media to assist us in that regard. Like, for example, we have our Calypsonians. Maybe the media can work with us to see how we can improve attendance at the Calypso shows. Even some of the things good things that is happening with PAN. I believe there's a great opportunity for the media to cover those things and to see how we can promote PAN and what we're doing. So basically, as regards to that, we will have a statement in due course. But thank you very much for raising that question. Any other questions?
Okay, if not, Senator, any last words? And Lyndon, I know you would have recently graduated,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. I just want to congratulate Lyndon as well. He just recently graduated as well. So he's home to relax, to catch up. One of the things that I want you to know, he's a very humble person. He doesn't like so much of the media stuff. Is probably difficult for him to see just so long with a mic and cameras pointing at him. But we want to congratulate you on your just recently concluded on your graduation. So, I mean, it's a wonderful time for him. It's a wonderful time for Grenada, and it's a wonderful time for sports in Grenada. If no further questions, we want to say thank you very much to our listening public. Thank you very much to Lyndon. I want to just say one last thing, and sometimes we take it for granted. We want to say thanks to your parents for raising such an outstanding individual, and we're happy that your parents can share your achievements with us as a nation. We are very privileged, and we want to say thank you to them as well. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Lyndon. Thank you, PS. And of course, thank you, Mr. Hippolyte. And we wish you a good day. And we now transition to our next segment.
This year's Spice Mass climaxes on August 13th and 14th. It is an event you just cannot afford to miss. I am Tamaya Monroe, Miss Grenada 2017, inviting you to the festivities, the shortney and all the different traditional mass, the fancy mass, the Monday night mass, and as Specky say, the best part of Carnival, the Juve. Spice Mass 2018 is one that's going to be fun, epic, unforgettable. Miss Grenada 2017 Tamaya Monroe inviting you to the Carnival Queen Show on August 9th, 2018 to witness the 7 beautiful ladies contesting for the title Miss Grenada 2018. It is an event that you cannot afford to miss. Miss Grenada said so.
This one is for mommy. You play your part and you still playing your part. I love you from my heart, mommy. You lost your love, your body. Put it till you depart. This one's from my heart.
Pull your phone, tap the screen. Double times road match winners.
2016, 2017, and 2018. We're going to make some history in Grenada.
Last year, it was mass. This year is just more mass.
Talking about Spice Mass 2018. We want everybody to come, support, and let's have a good time on the Spice Isle. It's all about enjoyment and fun. Pretty mass and colors and jab and everything. So we just want everybody to unite, and it's all about tapping the screen.
They can't wait for us to come. Remember, come and experience the greatest carnival of all.
And also come and experience the beaches and the beautiful island, right? It's all about 2018 Spice Mass Carnival. Come enjoy.
Last night I drink the rum and I falling numb, but I know this morning I'm waking up. Tap the screen.
Pull your phone. Remember, it's going to be epic. 2018 Mass.
Look up now! Watch up now! My name is Sheldon Olive, better known as Boise, better known as the Madras, your cultural ambassador, 4-time Soca Monarch of Grenada, 2 times OECS Monarch, and 2
would have just had our presentation by the Minister of Sport to Lyndon Victor, as well as some of the other athletes in absentia. We now continue with our post-cabinet updates from Senator Simon Steele. We know he is the Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment, Forestry, Fisheries, and Disaster Management. Today is World Environment Day, so he will tell us something about that, as well as give an update on Sagassam and where Grenada is in terms of cleaning up. We'll also hear about the recently concluded CDB meeting, CDB Board of Governors meeting that was held here in Grenada last week. There were a number of activities and a number of conclusions arising out of the meeting, and Senator was the alternate governor in the chair for Prime Minister, so he is well poised to tell us this morning what transpired over that. We also have Senator Garraway, who is the minister in that ministry responsible for disaster management and information. We know June has started, and it's the start of the hurricane season, so Senator will give an update on what we need to do to prepare ourselves adequately in the event of any disaster. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Keisha, and a very warm hello, good morning to our viewing and listening audience. And I just wanted to comment on the comments made by Lyndon Victor, and to commend this very, very impressive young man. He did us proud in Australia, and I'm confident that he and our other athletes will continue to do so in the future. So first of all, speaking to the recently concluded Caribbean Development Bank annual meeting that took place here in Grenada last week. It was the 48th meeting of the bank, for which Grenada was host and our Prime Minister chaired as chair of the CDB. It was an international meeting, even though it was centered around the Caribbean Development Bank. So in addition to hosting delegations from the Caribbean member states, there was representation by delegations from non-member states, which included the People's Republic of China, the United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, Canada, Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, and the United States. And in addition to that, our development partners from all over the world, including the World Bank, the IMF, the Inter-American Development Bank, European Investment Bank, the Green Climate Fund, Q8 Fund, OFID, GIZ from Germany, UNDP, UNOPS, to name but a few. So this was a significant meeting that was held here in Grenada, and a very, very successful week. As host country, Grenada received many compliments from all levels as to the level of organization that went into this week's activities. And I think we have to congratulate our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Tourism, the Royal Grenada Police Force, to just name a few of the, and GIS in hosting and making this activity so professionally run, and the level of hospitality that took place with some of the social receptions in the evening. But everybody commended how warm and welcoming and well organized the week of events are, and this is not an easy thing to put on. So Grenada did itself really proud last week. But in addition to those compliments, Grenada also received compliments session after session from other prime ministers, other delegates who were in attendance, and our international partners, as to the outstanding performance and the shining light that Grenada is within the region in terms of its fiscal and economic management. Grenada today has the fastest growing economy within the region at somewhere in the region of 4.5. Well, the official number is 4.5%. We actually believe the final figure will be higher than that. So consecutive years, Grenada continues to, economy continues to excel. In addition to that, out of the 32 Latin American and Caribbean states, Grenada is the only one to have a fiscal surplus. Again, a great milestone and indication as to the sound management, fiscal management that is taking place. And the third area that was commended is our engagement of the social partners. And this is a model that we're seeing countries up and down the region embracing as they've seen that partnership approach and the benefits that that brings in terms of having a national view and an inclusive view as to how the country should move forward. The final set of praises was for the chairman himself. Our Prime Minister Mitchell, chaired the main sessions. And comments were made as to the focus and the productive nature of each of these sessions. And this is something we've come to expect from our Prime Minister, whether it's his chairmanship of CARICOM, his chairmanship of the Small States Forum, and other fora. Our Prime Minister continues to bring into sharp focus the real issues that are affecting not only Grenada, but the region as a whole. And the theme of this year's meeting was centered around building resilience to address our vulnerabilities. As we know, the region is still recovering from the devastation of Hurricanes Maria and Irma. The lives lost, the billions of dollars worth of damage incurred, and the negative impact that it has had on the economies of some of our neighbors. And on the heels of that, we are about to enter the 2018. We are have entered the 2018 hurricane season, and Senator Garraway will go into more detail there, but we expect it to be no less active than last year. So as the Caribbean faces the real challenges of climate change, the question is asked, how do we best galvanize ourselves against those negative impacts? And this is one of the reasons why Grenada has established this Ministry of Climate Resilience, for us to take a proactive, a far more strategic approach, not only in terms of the management and protection of our natural resources, but to take a far more strategic approach to how we adapt to and face the challenges of climate change, whether that's with regard to resource mobilization. There are billions of dollars of financial assistance and technical support out there for small island developing states such as ours. So to ensure that we get our fair share of that, and we build the necessary capacity so that we are far more resilient to the vulnerabilities of climate change. Another hot topic at the CDB meeting was regarding regional transportation and the need to reduce the cost of interregional air traffic. Air transportation, and how we can bring greater efficiencies to that service. The challenges that we face are a real encumbrance to our regional development, and this was a hotbed of discussion during the days of the meeting. There were also a number of side meetings, bilaterals, whether it was at a national level, whether it was with our development partners, and two particular discussions I wish to pull out. One was a discussion with the German delegation and the German development partner, GIZ, in which we were able to sign an agreement for the extension of the contract that we have with GIZ and the services, the technical support that they have provided to Grenada over the past few years. So an extension to the end of 2019 to the value of somewhere in the region of 1.5 million euros, and we'll continue the great work that's taking place there. Also, and the areas that we've been working on there, one area is resource mobilization. They are working with us to gain access to the financial resources of the Green Climate Fund. We recently signed a significant agreement with the Green Climate Fund for which GIZ is the delivery partner to the value of $125 million. And that is a major intervention in our water sector, how we can bring greater resilience to our water sector. They're also working with us on our national adaptation plan, all of the projects and programs that Grenada needs to engage in if it is to better adapt to climate change. So these are some of the areas that we will continue our engagement with them on. In addition, the United Nations Development Program, there were stakeholder meetings and discussions around the creation of a very innovative financial instrument, what they call a social bond, which will generate revenues that will enable us to continue to fund a number of our coral restoration programs. We have a program with UN Environment where we have created this new job activity of coral gardeners, where we have trained divers, young men and women, who are creating coral nurseries for the rehabilitation of our coral reefs. And the idea is that through these discussions with UNDP, we'll create this financial instrument which will enable us to continue funding some of these innovative programs. So that's just a kind of flavor of what took place last week. And as I said, the organization that went behind this was very complex, and Grenada did a magnificent job. And we really, really did Grenada did itself proud. Now, moving on to the second subject. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is World Environment Day. And the theme for today is Beat Plastic Pollution. So that theme is to bring international awareness to the challenges that we face with pollution from plastics. And this is a global issue. But for us as small island developing states, those challenges become even more intense. Our ability to provide large-scale commercial recycling programs as exists in larger, more developed countries is very difficult. And with our very sensitive and delicate ecosystems, the impact of plastics, its non-biodegradable nature, it simply breaks down into microplastics that are then absorbed into our water supplies. It enters the food chain through birds, through fish, and then enters our food chain. So we are consuming those plastics, whether it's through consumption of fish, whether it is through water. And as I said, this is a global phenomenon, but one that we are highly sensitive to. So as Grenada, some of the actions that we're taking to address this is working with stakeholders and the development of legislation which will soon be presented to Parliament for the banning of some of the most critical pollutants, styrofoam and single-use plastics, such as single-use shopping bags and plastic drinking straws. So legislation will soon be passed to ban these items and the introduction of alternatives that can fill those gaps. So the government is doing what it can. It has established a task force to look at other areas, other interventions that will help limit the level of pollution. There are other initiatives that this government has embarked in, such as a very innovative initiative with Parley of the Oceans, which the initiative is to collect our plastics, and they will be shipped out and what they call upscaled. They will be recycled, reused for the production of things such as Adidas trainers and other high-branded leisure wear. So these are some of the innovative initiatives that government is taking. But it's not just about government alone. The whole thrust behind World Environment Day is to highlight that the management of plastics and these pollutants is actually the responsibility of everybody, non-government actors, the population as a whole, young and old. So whether it is our consumer choices, what we choose to purchase, how we choose to dispose of it, is a critical part in how we should tackle this scourge. And as we celebrate World Environment Day, there are a number of initiatives that are being taken up and down the country, ranging from tree planting in conjunction with the Ministry of Forestry, a number of school visits to sensitize our school kids on their role and the problems that we face with plastics pollution. And the launch later this afternoon, of a project with TNC, with funding from the German government, for the launch of a Resilience Island project up in Telescope, which is again looking at the protection of our coastal resources. And then in addition to that, various community cleanups that have been taking place over the past week and the coming weeks. So the final subject I want to run through is where we are quickly with the sargassum cleanup and the action plan. The invasion of sargassum seaweed continues to challenge not just Grenada, but the region. Through global warming, through increasing water temperatures, we're seeing these expansive plumes of sargassum seaweed, which are generated in South America, drift up and are invading our coastlines. The government of Grenada has an action plan in place. We're currently spending somewhere in the region of $100,000 a week in cleaning up the most affected areas. We cannot cover the entire coastline, but we're focused on those areas where there is the greatest health risk associated with the noxious gases, etc., that are generated from the decaying seaweed. So we're going to continue with that. But we are also working with our neighbors, working with the OECS Secretariat to look at longer-term solutions. The influx of sargassum is here to stay. Satellite images show no let-up in the amount of sargassum that is drifting our way. So we're looking at how we can turn a problem into an opportunity. We're in discussions with the OECS Secretariat, and they're setting up a task force with affected member states to look at how we can upscale an initiative that was started in St. Lucia, where there is a processing facility that converts the sargassum or extracts the nutrients out of the sargassum to produce liquid fertilizer, which is of commercial grade and is outperforming a lot of the fertilizers that are already on hardware, on stores' shelves. So the idea is that how can we upscale the success that St. Lucia has seen with this so that there are production facilities on each of the affected islands. So we are collecting what is, some may see as a waste material, and actually turning that into an asset, and what was a cost to actually turn that into a revenue source with job opportunities for those involved. So work has started in developing that plan. There will be the need to look for international funding to see how we can upscale this. But Grenada, together with its neighbors, are looking at how we can find much longer-term solutions to tackle this major issue that we are facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Keisha, and a pleasant morning to all our viewers and listeners to the program. Indeed, it's a great day to be alive. And we are, as was said earlier, in the hurricane season. As you know, June 1 to June 30th is seen annually as the Atlantic hurricane season. Sorry, June 1 to November 30th, Atlantic hurricane season. And Friday marked the beginning. And as usual, the Department of NADMA, responsible for the managing of hurricane or disasters in the country, we have put in place our plan for the entire season. And part of this plan was to ensure that all our shelters have been inspected and approved, so at least in the event there is the threat, the passage of a hurricane or storm, and there is a need for persons to be accommodated, they are ready. And I want to say for the first time in many years that all parishes this year reported of having a primary shelter. And over the years, persons were making calls as to why St. Mark didn't have, and we had refurbished buildings up there. They had shelters, secondary, but a primary shelter is one that is given the opportunity to accommodate persons prior to and during the passage of a hazard, a storm, hurricane, as the case may be. Secondary are those with a designation can only accommodate persons after the passage of the event. In this case, St. Mark this year, as I said, have a primary shelter. So in the event that Grenada is placed under a watch, a warning, and persons have to be relocated to a place of safety, there is the resource center in Maran that will be housed or used to house persons in the St. Mark area. For 2018, we have a total of 67 primary shelters and a total of 43 secondary shelters. The numbers is reduced from last year from 120 to 111. But let me see quickly. Grenada currently is the recipient of this grant from the Canada Caribbean Disaster Risk Management Fund. And the purpose of this fund, our grant, is to upgrade emergency shelters to accommodate persons with disabilities and also to have water storage capacity. As a result, some of our shelters are not yet completed and not in a place of readiness to be designated as a primary shelter. Hence the reason why we have a lower number of 9 this year. But come 2019, I can assure you, we will have much more shelters because the program of upgrade that we're doing at this point in time definitely will bring us to a place where we'll have in excess of 130. But what is important to note here, as it relates to the management of those shelters, the agency has went about ensuring that our persons, the personnel responsible for managing shelters, shelter management, that committee is active. And we have been able to get some assistance from the International Organization of Migration towards training new personnel to manage emergency shelters. So there is a call at this moment for volunteers. If you're in wherever you are at in Grenada and you want to volunteer your service and your time to the agency, to your district, your community, as a disaster response personnel, we ask you to call us. Based on the structure of NADMA, we have some 17 districts throughout the length and breadth of Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique. And the district committees are charged with ensuring that the management of disasters within the various locale is carried out and carried out effectively. We ask our citizens in the event that you didn't hear from your district committee, but there is a potential hazard in whatever area, to call and report to us so that at least we can address those issues. One of the serious issue in a hurricane or passage of a storm is to have potential missiles that can fly from trees or hang in charts or galvanize, as the case may be. These need to be addressed long before the season. And I'm saying if there is need in your community, you've seen areas that could become a potential hazard, you need to call the agency. Numbers 440-8390, and that will take 91, 92, 93, 94. And the agency obviously will give support to this. You may ask where the shelters are located. In St. George, there are some 24 primary shelters: Anakin High School, Grenada Boys Secondary School, St. Joseph Convent, St. George, Springs Open Bible School, Springs Open Bible Church, Callis Government School, Montu Seventh-day Adventist Church, St. Paul's Government School, Bethel Church Hall, St. Mary's Junior School, Bolio Seventh-day Adventist Church, Boca Secondary School, Venda Marcy School, Constantine Methodist School, New Hampshire Methodist Church, Happy Hill Secondary School, Montgomery Seventh-day Adventist Church, Montgomery's Anakin School, Uganda Martyrs RC School, Fontenoy Community Center, Cherry Hill Community Center, Woburn Methodist School, J.W. Fletcher Secondary School, Granans Baptist Church, New Hampshire Community Center, St. David Croce Multipurpose Center, St. Joseph's RC School, St. David's RC School, St. Theresa's RC School, Wester Hall Seventh-day Adventist Church, Fletcher's Church, St. Martin de Porres. In Petit Martinique, we have Petit Martinique RC School and Petit Martinique RC Church. In Carriacou, we have Bogos Community Center, Dover Government School, Haverville Government School. Leicester Rosary School and Glad Tidings Assembly. St. Patrick, Riverside Seventh-day Adventist Church, Rose Hill Seventh-day Adventist Church, St. Patrick's Anglican School, Montrose Seventh-day Adventist Church, Snell Hall Seventh-day Adventist Church and School, and Macdonald College. St. John, St. Rose Modern Secondary School, Mount Granby Seventh-day Church, Concord Seventh-day Adventist Church, St. John's RC School. St. Mark, as I've said before, Marin Community Center. St. Andrew, Paradise Seventh-day Adventist Church, St. Andrew's Anglican Secondary School, St. Joseph's Convent, Harford Village Community Center, Mama Can's Community Center, La Poterie Seventh-day Adventist Church, Sacred Heart Catholic School, Parkley Government School, Faith Tabernacle Church, Maribor Seventh-day Adventist Church, Monlong Seventh-day Adventist Church, Monlong Campsite, New Testament Church, Birch Grove, Holy Innocent Anglican, Union Community Center, Richmond Seventh-day Adventist Church, Soubise Seventh-day Adventist Church, and St. Mary's RC School. So here is the 67 primary shelters. But as I've said, as an agency, NADMA will continue to ensure that we provide information to the nation relative to disasters that may approach Grenada. As you know, for this season, the Hurricane Center would have provided information as it relates to another, let's say, above average season, with some 14 named storms, 6 to 7 will develop into a hurricane, and 2 to 3 major hurricanes. I heard someone remark and say, well, 1473, and that's the telephone call code for Grenada. But I counter to say, we're not accepting any call this year. Thank you.
Any questions?
Good morning to Senator Steele. You mentioned about a task force.
Well, the task force is multi-stakeholder. So you have persons, retailers, for example, who actually produce a lot of the plastics waste or the plastic products. So we have engaged them both in terms of getting their suggestions how we can transition from some of the products that they offer. So if it's importers of plastic bags or straws or styrofoam, so that they are directly engaged in the process of how we transition from the importation of those items to biodegradable, more environmentally friendly products. So an important sector. We have the Division of Trade in there, looking at it from a financial perspective. We have whether it is restaurateurs, hoteliers, etc. So consumers of some of these products, in addition to government persons. So the idea is that we get a full cross-section of all of the issues that need to be addressed in coming up with a policy and legislation that doesn't negatively impact any one stakeholder. So it's taken a very inclusive approach so that what we end up with is the best approach, the best solution for us as a nation.
You mentioned that the plastics will be shipped out to be turned into high-end products. Do you have a potential overseas purchaser for these? How is that going to work? Just explain that for us.
We have an agreement with this organization called Parley of the Oceans. We're yet to move to the implementation phase of the project, but the principle is that we'll have collection centers, we'll collect, bale, store, and then ship out. So Parley will then organize the shipping out of the plastic waste. They have their clients. They have a processing facility that will convert those plastics into a plastic fiber, plastic cloth that is then being used by Adidas, is one of the headline brands. And they have a range of training shoes, sneakers, that are manufactured from recycled material. So they have that relationship, and there are other branded goods providers who are being targeted. So it's a very creative way of, again, turning a problem into actually a luxury good.
Sorry, one final question. You mentioned that legislation, let me make sure I have it, to go to Parliament soon. How soon will that happen?
It's been drafted as we speak. We're looking for the first reading of that legislation at the next working sitting of Parliament.
Good morning again. In terms of the sargassum cleanup, one concern was raised in terms of the method used to remove the seaweed from the beach. The heavy-duty equipment was apparently also scooping out sand on the beach. Has that problem been tackled as yet?
Well, with the high volume of the sargassum that's inundated our beaches, it can only be removed by heavy equipment. The volume is just so much. I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of tons of material. Care is being taken to minimize the amount of sand loss that is incurred. So efforts are being made to limit that. But what they have found is that some has been unavoidable. It's excavators, it's heavy equipment, so there isn't the ability to sift through the volume of sand. And what you have is a combination of the seaweed as it actually ingrains itself with the sand. So it's impossible to remove it without removing some sand, but all efforts are being made to keep that to a minimum. What we do not want to do is solve one problem and create another.
In terms of, Senator Garway, the hurricane season, 2017 Grenada was more or less on the lucky end of things. We were spared the wrath of a hurricane. But in the event, as we expect another above normal season, in the event that one does reach, NADMA has said we are not able to deal with a Category 5. What are the measures put in place to deal with the aftermath if Grenada does get even a Category 3 hurricane? How prepared are we to deal with the cleanup process?
Thank you very much for this question, Blossom. No country wants to be impacted by a hurricane. And when we look at what has happened last year to Dominica, they have lost over 225% of their GDP, and almost everything was flattened. Countries do not want to, and Grenada, of course, do not want to. We were blessed last year. We didn't have an impact. But in terms of our preparation to deal with an impact, as I said, our district committees are in place. We are working with all of them to ensure that they're ready to respond if the needs be. In terms of our shelters, we have that, as we've announced this morning, lockdown, so that persons will be able to. And coming out when you're talking about the cleanup, to ensure that we have volunteers to be able there to assist with that, as the case may be. In terms of our stocks, chainsaws and the likes that will be necessary to do that, that again is being checked. And most importantly, the NEAC, which is the advisory council that will look at the approach, passage of any event, when we meet, we have all the major stakeholders in the country, be it telecommunication, the electricity, the water, all those stakeholders work with us to ensure that we are able to respond. And part of there's a project ongoing right now that is being executed by NAWASA, came through NADMA, and that is the Open Tap School Close project, which is a water storage program within schools to ensure that, and mind you, as you've realized, most of our shelters are either schools or churches. So with creating water storage capacity within those structures, it means, therefore, that in the event of a passage, those shelters will be able to provide for the needs, water needs and other security needs for our people. So in short, we have done quite a lot to bring us to the place where we feel some high level of comfort to be able to respond and respond adequately should we be impacted this year.
And just to go back, sorry, to the sargassum seaweed. Senator Steele, you mentioned we have spent, or we're spending $100,000 per week in the project. Do you have a figure as to how much we've already spent, and is there a budget for this cleanup project of this sargassum?
This current action plan was put into force 4 or 5 weeks ago, so we've spent certainly in excess of $400,000 thus far. They will take a break for the next week or so. I think most of the most noxious material has been, in the most sensitive areas, has been removed. So it is, but as quickly as it's removed, it returns. We are seeing a slight lull right now in some of the most effective areas. So it's to give it a week or so, and then we will then have to restart that. So is there a budget? There was a budget for this initial period, but clearly we're not making a major impact. The amount that's coming on shore is as great as what we are removing. So it's going to be an ongoing process. And as I said earlier, from the satellite images, we're just seeing wave after wave of sargassum coming our way. But it's important to note that it's not just Grenada. All of the islands within the region are struggling with the same issues. So this is a regional challenge, which is why we've now approached the OECS to say, let us see what we can do at a regional level to do something more long term.
So no budget, just to clarify, no budget.
Our responsibility is to keep the beaches as clean as is practically possible, focusing on those areas where there is the greatest health risk. So we have to prioritize. So we can't clean our entire coastline, we can't clean every beach, but those areas where there is greatest sensitivity, that is where we are focusing.
And with that, I think we'll wrap up. Wandel, okay. One quick one.
Good morning, everybody. This question is for Senator Garraway. We know that NADMA is quite prepared for the hurricane season based on what you said in terms of logistics and all the plans you have in place. But the target area, or we are concerned that the regular people, like the homeowners, are not very prepared for what could happen in terms of most people do not have a disaster management kit, what most people should have in their homes. They do last minute shoppings. They don't have stored water. So what is NADMA prepared to do to advise people that this should be done and do not wait until last minute to get those things?
Thank you very much. Excellent question. And at least NADMA continues to create this awareness, providing information weekly through our regular radio programs and TV programs and with all other stakeholders to ensure that the nation is made aware as to what is needed to be prepared. So we advocate that every family should have the family disaster plan. We provide assistance to develop such plans. Persons ask and we help. The district committees are there also to do that. Within the structure of NADMA, we have 2 program officers, community program officers, who is there to provide such sort of support. Secondly, businesses too are asked to develop their disaster plan. And NADMA has been providing service to the business community in doing that. And I want to interject here. You've said that persons are not really prepared. We have seen a shift in the discipline of persons as it relates to responding to information of a disaster nature. You know, you can go online and get information from NOAA or the Hurricane Center as it relates to weather pattern, hurricane storms, as the case may be. But beneath the information, they will tell you, for localized information, you need to communicate with your local vendors, meaning your NADMA and the Met Office. What we have seen in the last year, a year and a half, that persons do, yes, they look at what NOAA and the Hurricane Center would have put out, but they make decisions based on the information that has been provided by the Met Office through NADMA in terms of your localized, contextualized information that is given. So we have seen a shift in the discipline level, and we have seen more persons taking proactive decisions as it relates to protecting their home and properties. We have seen that. So really and truly, I think the population is responding properly as it relates to information that is disseminated towards protecting the family. And we will continue to provide this awareness. As a matter of fact, during this season, this period, we have on plan for this mass mobilization of creating awareness for disasters, all disasters, because not just hurricane, but we're looking at comprehensive disaster management. And one of the strategies that's been used to help create this awareness is our disaster awareness quiz, which is ongoing at this point in time. So we're working within the schools to ensure that our children, they know exactly what needs to be done. And as it is said, if you really want to get the parents involved, get the children on your side.
Thank you. I think we've had a very lengthy and comprehensive.
With the National Report, I am Leslie Ann Johnson. The governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank says he has written to the managing director of the International Monetary Fund and the president of the World Bank about collaborating with the ECCU and the wider region to seek common ground on the subject of state contingent debt instruments. Mr. Timothy Antwine says this is one of the measures that can be implemented to prevent countries from facing challenges alone during the restructuring process after a natural disaster. He was speaking during a CDB seminar on building resilient economies.
What we're proposing is a standard treatment that will be in all instruments for all, at least small states. I suspect the larger states may have an interest in this, but I'm commenting from a small state, and I believe that is part of building debt resilience.
Mr. Antwine says Caribbean governments also have to invest in psychosocial infrastructure that can be deployed rapidly in the case of a natural disaster. Important as well, he says, is the need to have proactive communication with credit rating agencies.
We need to ensure that in our business continuity plans, we have effective communication. And they will assume the worst, and they will do things that are unhelpful and in some cases unnecessary.
There is no reason why small Caribbean countries should not pursue the avenue of citizenship by investment to generate more revenue. That's according to Dr. Warren Smith, the president of the Caribbean Development Bank. Addressing the media at a closing press conference during the just concluded 48th Board of Governors meeting in Grenada, Dr. Smith said these countries need to ensure there is due diligence to avoid negative repercussions.
What I particularly like about the Grenada approach is that Grenada is treating it, I guess, in part like a windfall. It has elements of what they refer to as heritage funds and things of this nature. Whereas countries that are in the commodity business, oil, agricultural products, and they find themselves in a situation where the market situation is such that they get a wash of resources at a particular point in time. They don't just go on a spending binge. What they do is they set it aside for the rainy day, so to speak.
Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, says Grenada has been defined as being slow in its approval because of its thorough procedures for awarding citizenships. He says while they want to generate resources to pay the country's debt, Grenada must also be protected.
We do not give a citizenship to anyone unless it passes through the regional security apparatus. I think that is one area that at the regional level we must come to terms with. We should not bypass the regional security apparatus, and we don't do it. And that's why we have not heard, in Grenada's case, any person, despite the propaganda that some use it, because they're concerned about our generation of significant resources. You have not heard anyone with any evidence that have been given citizenship that have not, in fact, passed through a rigorous security check.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Look up now! Watch up now! My name is Sheldon Olive, better known as Boise, better known as the Madras, your cultural ambassador, 4-time Soca Monarch of Grenada, 2 times OECS Monarch and 2 times Road Match, inviting you to Spice Mass 2018. This will be the one to experience. Well, Carnival Friday night is the biggest night because guess what? 1 stage, 1 night, 2 competitions, groovy and power. And guess what? Your artist may be the one. You never know. Come out and see who take the title. Foreigners come down to see it. Enough vibes, enough energy. Rag, flag, bandanas. It's pandemonium on that night, so you don't know. I mean, I will be defending on that night, so make sure and be there. Carnival Friday night, so come on up. Number 5.
John! Say put your hand up in the air. Flag up in the air. Put your flag up in the air. Put your hand up in the air. Put your so come on.
The Caribbean Development Bank commits to leading Grenada into a state of readiness for economic growth and stability through the implementation of projects. Through funds secured from the CDB, Grenada has benefited from several projects in sectors, including education and agriculture. CDB's Director of Projects, Daniel Best, says several projects have been completed and Grenada stands to benefit from many more CDB-funded projects, including Phase 9 of the Basic Needs Trust Fund, or BNTF. Under the 7th phase of the BNTF, 9 sub-projects were initiated and completed.
On the basic BNTF 7, all of the capital, we had 9 sub-projects across 3 sectors, ranging from education and human resource development, water and sanitation, and basic community access and drainage. All of the 9 sub-projects in those 3 sectors have been completed and fully disbursed. And so the communities within which those projects would have been completed are benefiting from those improved services. We also, under BNTF 8, had 6 projects in two sectors, 6 sub-projects in 2 sectors, in education and also in water and sanitation. And 5 of the projects were in education, and they have all been completed and fully disbursed. And the one water and sanitation project, we determined together with the government to cancel that one and reallocate the funds.
Best commended Grenada on being the trend setter for climate-smart agriculture, which is the way for the agriculture sector in the region. He said with financial and other support, produce and services under the sector will be on par with international standards.
Grenada is one of the first countries to pilot it. And under that project, we are looking at incorporating climate-smart modalities into irrigation systems, as well as training farmers as to how to treat and incorporate climate-smart initiatives into their production processes. We also have a food safety management systems project, whereby we are incorporating and procuring equipment and looking at systems for food safety management to ensure that persons within that particular sector are able to access international markets.
More than 30 members of staff at the T.A. Marisho Community College were recognized and awarded for their contribution to the institution's transformational process. The college has entered into a 5-year partnership with the Government of Grenada, McMaster University, and the Petna Foundation to enhance its ability to execute the mandate of excellence in teaching and learning. Representatives from the partnering institutions recently visited Grenada to facilitate a retreat on incorporating educational consultancy as part of the Braffett Center of Teaching and Learning, or BCTL, and other related teaching matters. Dean of the School for Continuing Education, David Fleming, said from 2016 to present, TAMCC has been on the path towards realizing the dream of Sir Nicholas Braffett, which is to transform the college into one of the best tertiary institutions in the region.
This whole new dynamic, rightly considered, is the expression, and it epitomizes the building of a more active and interactive learning and teaching culture in TAMCC. And as we can anticipate, this would take us along a path typically forward to realizing the dream of Dr. Nicholas Braffett. He has a dream that TAMCC one day could be the icon tertiary education institution of its kind in the region.
Dr. Ashad Ahmad, Vice Provost, Teaching and Learning, highlighted some successes of the partnership.
Faculty development, program enhancement, student partnerships, and leadership restructuring. So I'll list a few accomplishments here, and I hope you get the sense that there is momentum building. Each accomplishment is like a stride in a Kirani James gold medal run. We have cultivated a robust faculty development program and launched a pedagogical partners program that unites students and faculty in a pedagogical consultancy that is the first of its kind in the Caribbean. By the end of the year, 92 faculty will have instructional skills training, and 10 will have facilitator training, and one of those will be a trainer of trainers, so that this program can sustain itself without McMaster's support.
And that's the National Report. I'm Leslie Ann Johnson.
to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
For over 2 decades, Grenada has had one of the highest electricity rates in the world. In a non-competitive environment, the high rates have been putting businesses under pressure, forcing householders to cut, stifling economic growth. Oh my Grenada. Like countries such as Dominica, St. Lucia, and Jamaica, Grenada is moving to open up the power generation sector to competition. Oh my Grenada. Like with telecommunications, competition will spur innovation, ensure efficiency and reliability, and make electricity more affordable. The economy will grow faster, and in the end, the network company will sell more. With a stronger economy, electricity usage will increase, maintaining profits for the provider while the prices gets lower for the consumer. Power to the people. Oh my Grenada. In a liberalized economy, everybody wins. Liberalization is about the people of Grenada. Fair competition, fair prices, power to the people.
My enemies' walls are bound to crumble, and to the floor their spears will fall. I've been made and sealed with love, but time to battle, I'll fight them all. I felt the whips and remember chains, but my sword has been forged by my father's flames. Fight your fears and heal your pain, and victory will be in your name.
I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father blessed me with the heart of a lion and a warrior soul. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail, and no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win, 'cause I will conquer.
Good morning, Grenada. Yeah, no weapon formed against I shall prosper. Yeah, Mr. Killer. Good morning, Grenada. Good morning to everyone wherever you are on the live. You know, wherever you are, good morning to you. It's another morning of Hard Talk. My name is Devon Romain, and I'm in the studios together with my technical director and operator, Nazim. Yeah, we alone today. Yeah, we kick out Sheldon. We kick him out. So we solo today. Yeah, we coming to you live on CRFM 89.5. Yeah, CRFM. 97.5 City Sounds, yeah, in the River Road area, and in Brooklyn, New York, We Vibes Radio, yeah, also Karaku too, hey, 94.9, it is 92.9, yeah. So yeah, we are live. It's Hard Talk. Another beautiful morning here in Grenada. And I said my name is Devon Romain, in studios with Nazim. Yeah, Sheldon is out. We kick him out. Today we going solo. Yeah, earlier on today we had press conference held, post-cabinet press conference held by our Minister of Youth and Sport, Honorable Nolan Cox, right? Also to the Minister of the Environment, and so Senator Steele, and the Minister of Information, responsible for information, and NAGMA, particular Senator Garway. And so, and a number of, issues were discussed, and we start with, just to give you a little briefing in terms of what much spoke about in the sport. In the segment where you had the Minister of Sports, we had also one of our heroes of Grenada, yeah, Lyndon Victor was right there with us, gracing his presence, and so, hey, bro, Grenada is proud of you, just like all the other athletes that are making it out in the international circles and local. And so we are very proud of you, my brother. And so, and to all of you. And a number of initiatives was read out by the minister. Some of some things that were given to a number of athletes, both in cricket and athletics. And so, and it's very important to, to give back to people. And the government had seen it fit that with their performance, their continued performance in making Grenada a success story on the international scene and so, right? The government had decided to give our athletes something, a token of appreciation. Yeah, you can't give them everything, right? We're not rich, we're not wealthy. But just as a matter of appreciation from the Grenadian people, the government has decided to do a number of things for some of our athletes so far. I mean, a lot of more good things to come, right? In cricket, we had, for example, Afi Fletcher, who was awarded, I think, $20,000 and an official passport, right? Emmanuel Stewart, an official passport, Akira Peters, and so, right? All of them have been represented, Grenada and the regional team, right? And so, in cricket, and all of them have been given an official passport, made basically ambassadors to our country. Wow. That is so good. And in athletics, we have Kira Peters, right? Kurt Felix and Lyndon Victor. They all were on the receiving end from the government and people of Grenada. Lyndon Victor received a plot of land and $25,000. Kurt Felix, $10,000, right? And an official passport. Also, Akira Peters, right? All receiving official passport as ambassadors to our spice country, right? We have to appreciate our athletes. They have been working hard. They have been making Grenada proud on the international market, right? And we have to give back to them. They have been given to us over the last couple of years, and we are proud of them. Proud sons and daughters of our country, right? And all of us as Grenadians should be out there rooting for them, right? Continue to show your support for them in whatever way you can, right? Show your support, right, to our athletes, right? And so who have been representing Grenada on the international stage, right? So there you go. Big up to all of them. Big up to the government of Grenada, right, who have seen it fit to make that contribution, and so towards our athletes, and so, right, and that just gives the young athletes, young aspiring athletes, to continue to work hard to achieve, to represent your country, to be proud of yourself. Do it for yourself first and foremost. Be proud of what you're doing, right? Be proud of what you're doing. Dedicate yourself, right? Be serious, right? And you will achieve. If you can't do it for yourself first, you can't do it for no one else, right? Satisfy yourself. Be proud. Appreciate in what you can do, right? And then you make your country proud, as most of the other athletes have been doing. I mean, countless. Kirani James, who is poised to return to in international events and so sometime in the future, perhaps another week or so. We expect great things from him, for him to continue to represent our country, and we look forward to that, right? And to all the other athletes and so who are out there doing their best, we wish you all the best. And just remember, Grenada is proud of you, and we are rooting for you. Make no mistake of that. You are our sons and our daughters, right, who have made us proud. All right. Also, in this press conference this morning, we have had Senator Simon Steele giving us a breakdown of what went on in the recently concluded governance meeting of the Caribbean Development Bank and so. And he highlighted a number of things in terms of some of the benefits that will derive from such a meeting by the member states and so. And Grenada, who was the chairman, had to well, relinquish its position. It's normally a event where I think every year, right, a member nation has to run it for 1 year as head, and so Dr. Mitchell has come in for high praise in terms of his tenureship, right, and his leadership quality for this last year in leading, right, this institution to, you know, much more great things. And so, and Grenada has to be proud of that. And so I think Britain, if I'm not mistaken, has is now the chairman, right, of the board of governors. And so hey, we look forward to continued good things, right, for these islands, these countries, and so in moving forward, development and so economic growth and everything like that, right. And so also Senator Steele also made it clear as to the economic growth of Grenada. We have seen over the last year or two, Grenada have been, I mean, economically moving, right? The latest statistics would put Grenada anywhere at about, what, 4.5% growth. I mean, that is great for our country, right? I mean, to all the critics, to all those out there who are saying that Grenada can't do it, we cannot come out of it. We have done it, and we are continuing to be a shining example to our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, right? Not just in the OECS or the Windward Islands, in the entire Caribbean. Grenada is leading economically, in sports, right? In politics, name it. We have taken our rightful place in the Caribbean as the leader. We lead, others follow. Because we have seen that the other countries and so are taking a pattern of, for example, the fiscal situation that Grenada is in, what it has done to take itself out, right, of that predicament. And it's an example to all the other Caribbean countries, right, to Jamaica and now Barbados, who have just, I mean, the party in the winning party in Barbados, led by Mia Amor Motley, I mean, has delivered a stunning defeat on the opposition, 30 seats to 0. I mean, similar to Grenada, it had to, I mean, it had to take Grenada to reiterate to them that we can do it twice in succession, one after the other, for them to follow. And Barbados has followed, 30 zip, right, putting the opposition out of commission. But now we have seen that one of the MPs have just switched over and become the opposition leader. For whatever reason, he has stated his reason. And so, and hey, in my view, it's all about country first. So to him, right, and so on, his advisors, they think that it was the best move, right, for them to go that way. Then hey, kudos to them. And so, right, and to the democracy in Barbados. And so Grenada, as I've been saying, has been leading, right, in the entire Caribbean, all fronts, whether it be sport, in economic growth, in infrastructural development, and in preparedness. And so we have been in the forefront, right? Make no mistake about it. Senator Steele even also mentioned something that is, I mean, would come in stream, $125 million in grant from the European Union for our water system in Grenada. Imagine every single parish within our country, right? The water system will be developed right up to par. Millions of dollars will be poured through NAWASA to ensure that our water system is upgraded and is functioning properly. Our people can get clean, healthy water right through the island. And I'm so glad for the people of Munich in particular, who have over the years has been suffering dearly when it comes to clean drinking water, right, adequate supply of water. A number of other communities who have been suffering. In the next couple of months and years, you will see NAWASA moving to develop and enhance, right, the storage capacity, right, and the free and more adequate supply of drinking water for the people of this country, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. What a way to go. So we keep on moving. Despite the distractors continue to say that nothing is happening in our country, it is clear to see that Grenada is on a path that no one can stop us. We are not perfect, but we are much better from where we are. We are much better from where we were. As a matter of fact, from where we were 5, 6 years ago. Every year, we keep moving. We keep on doing things to help develop our people, the infrastructure, the educational system within our country, trying to make every single citizen of this country literate. There must be no stones unturned. No one must get left. Our country must continue to be the shining light in the Caribbean, right? We have a wonderful statesman. We have a leader, an experienced leader in Dr. Mitchell, who has proven to the rest of the Caribbean, even not to the world, that he is a strong leader. He can lead. And he has been doing that for more than 15 years now, leading this country, taking Grenada out from where it was and putting us out in the spotlight. We must be proud and appreciative for what we got. When you look at other persons like Dr. Timothy Antoine, who is now the governor of the bank. I mean, come on. It's not an coincidence where you have Grenadians in leading areas within the Caribbean and parts of the world. And so, we are continuing to lead in whatever we do. The number is 440-7377. Give us a call on the local line. It's an open line. Call us. Talk about what you want to talk about. All right? Feel free to give ideas, suggestions, make comments. And so, you are welcome. And the overseas line is 347-329-3101. Again, good morning to all of you listening to me, whether you're on radio, whether you on your phones, listening and watching online, wherever you are, Toronto, United States, and so Europe, wherever you are, China, good morning to you, and a blessed morning to all those who may not be seeing us, but even not be listening us, but knowing that Hard Talk is there. Someone will tell you, we are on. Give us a call. Hey, comment on anything that you want to. This morning also, I want to zero in on a number of things that that we need to keep on the front burner. The whole question of disaster preparedness, right? I cannot overemphasize. I mean, it is so important, right, for us to understand the importance of preparedness, disaster preparedness. As most of you know, right, we are now into the official hurricane season. It began on the 1st, the 1st of June, right? And a number of initiatives has been put into place by NAGMA and the different stakeholders, and so in the whole drive to prepare our people in the event of a disaster, whether it's hurricane, whether it's earthquake, whether it's storm, whatever the case may be. As a people, we must be prepared. We must be vigilant in order to save lives. We are expecting around 14 named weather systems, right, this year, out of which around 6 or 7 may develop into hurricanes, and which 2 or 3 may be major hurricanes. Now, that is cause for concern. I want to be plain. It is cause for concern for us as a people. We are a vulnerable nation. We are. Right? We are not prepared as we want to. We are getting there. That is why it is important for us to pay attention to the information that NAGMA, the official voice, right, for disaster in our country. We have to put things in place. We have to do things, right, that is so important, right, that will save lives, protect property. In preparing, one must understand what you're preparing for. Right? NAGMA, in the case at NAGMA, or the official voice, right, in this country, gives a scenario, for example, a hurricane. A hurricane, they will give you the warning. You will have at least 48 hours or more, right, warning. You will be aware. Thus, you have to prepare. What are some of the things that you need to have in order to ensure that you're prepared? Water is important. It is essential for every single household to store at least 7 to 10 days of water, storage in drums, in other containers. Drinking water, water to use to flush toilets, right? To wash if the case, arises and that. But we need to have at least 7 to 10 days supply of water ready, right around us. So within the next 7 or 10 days, we must not see trouble for water in the case of any event. First aid kits. In the case of a hurricane, someone around you may get damaged from some flying object, from something that fell, whatever the case. You have to be prepared. You have to have the necessary things, right, to ensure that you can be the first responder in case of injury within your surroundings. Bandages, mentholated spirits, and so things to help, to think, plasters, and so, right? Things that that is readily available that could help, right, to stop bleeding, to help in a fracture, whatever the case may be. We need to ensure, right, that we have these things ready. I think we have a first caller. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, my friend. Well, not too bad.
Right, man. I didn't see you yesterday, man.
No, yesterday was a sort of difficult day for me.
Yeah.
And I should apologize to our listeners for my absence yesterday.
It was all right. It was a good meeting. Yeah. Yeah, one of the things as you were speaking about, appreciation. And in life, sometimes, many times, people did a lot of good things for our nation. But you know what will happen? We keep quiet when they do good things. But when they do something bad, like he made headline. And I want to say, when a young man or someone do something good for our country, we should appreciate the person. Appreciate them for the good things that they are doing. Because whatever they do for our nation, it don't only benefit them, but it benefit we as Grenadians. Right? And by showing appreciation to them, that could encourage other young people, other people, right, to excel and to do good, right, or even to do better than them, do better. Because when people do bad things or wrong things, it made headline news, and the good things that people did, they question quite in the back or in the center of the newspaper, right? But I do think that attitude needs to change and appreciate people for the good things that they are doing, right, and that could encourage other people to do good things. I'm very sure they come to the NAGMA thing. I want to say in 2004 with Ivan, people have a concept like God is a Grenadian. But I could say presently right now, the people of Grenada, they're more into the disaster preparedness. Because if you look at we in Central Northwest, what we are doing, we're sensitizing the people in the school, the churches, right? And also leaving the number of the coordinator. In case something also happens, they know the coordinator know what they have to call the coordinator. Right? And I also want to inform people again. When you hear about a weather coming, don't just take news from anybody. Listen to the main office and NAGMA. This is the main source that we give out the news. Because sometimes when people in panic mode and hear all different things, it make it worse for them. It make them more frightened. So what I want to say to the people of Grenada, Caricom Peter Martin, we listen to the news, and that news should come from Med office and NAGMA office. Don't listen for anybody. Because people will say things just to frustrate people, right? And bring a more pain upon people. Because when you hear them something news that is not true, it frightens you more, right? I want to say to the Grenadian people, have a family plan. Have a family plan. Prepare yourself. Because what we are doing, like in the post office, where the people that go and receive mails, we want to drop some flyers on disaster preparedness plan. So as parents came, or somebody came and collect the mails, they will also collecting a flyer. On disaster preparedness.
Excellent
okay?
idea.
So, what Devon, you all on today?
Yes, boy.
All right, you go on the man.
Oh, yeah.
So, you have a good day. God bless you, man.
All right, my friend. Good.
Okay,
yeah, and the whole question of preparedness and so, right? NAGMA at this point in time is undergoing a shelter management training for volunteers. NAGMA is appealing to persons out there to volunteer their service, their time, right, to help in the whole question of preparedness, right? They are undergoing a training course very soon, perhaps in the next week or so, right, for shelter managers, persons who will be responsible for managing the shelters in case of a disaster, right? You don't want to be in a shelter and it's chaotic. You don't know who's the head from who's the tail. NAGMA is undergoing to ensure in every district, out of the 17 districts that are there within Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, every single district, right, should be prepared, especially in shelter management, because we understand the importance, right, of managing the shelters where you have persons of all different, walks of life coming in there for either assistance or passing through, and you must, as individuals, as persons who are managing it, must ensure that you know what you're about, right? So NAGMA is appealing to persons out there to volunteer service. Call NAGMA's office. I should, before the program ends, I should have a couple of numbers that I can relate or let off to persons, right, to call NAGMA and volunteer, or if not, in your different districts, different constituencies where you have the NAGMA coordinators and so, district coordinators, go and volunteer your service. Preparedness is very, very important. Okay? We cannot, stop stressing the importance of that. Also, too, we see that NAWASA, in collaboration with NAGMA and the government of Grenada, is ensuring that all the shelters as possible, right, are ready, right, and water storage capacity is increased, right. They are ensuring that in every shelter, every place where you have a gathering of persons, right, from any type of disaster or so, the capacity, right, of water is adequate for everyone. Most of our shelters and so are in schools and in churches. So you know hence the reason, right, for lot of clean, fresh water for persons within that structure. So NAGMA, right, together with NAWASA, is undergoing some enhancement of the different shelters, ensuring that the capacity is increased, right, and we have a better supply, right, from so. One of the numbers for to contact the NAGMA main office is 440-8390. 440-8390. Right? So please, persons, come out there. I know there are a number of persons who want to be part of this whole disaster preparedness things, right? You may have your issues with things, but remember, when it comes to a disaster, there is no enemy, right? But there are families, there are persons, right, who are there to help. So let's not stay away because of either politics or because of personalities of others being involved. Let us bypass that. Let us be more mature as a people, right, and consider the safety of our people and the nation of Grenada. It is so important. Without people, Grenada cease to exist. As a people, we must be mindful that one of the first things that we must do is try to help others when they are in need of help, because you would like to get help when you are in need of help. It is so important, fellow brothers and sisters, to be prepared and to be prepared to help others in case they need the help during a disaster. We expect persons to come out and help. Let us leave the pettiness aside. Let us be mature as a people. Let us forget the politics, the differences, and let us study Grenada. Grenada at this point in time needs all of us to be prepared, to be ready in the event that a disaster strikes. Look at the people in Guatemala. Right? Look at them in Guatemala. They are undergoing, one of the most devastating, disasters they have had in over 100 years. How are they coping with that? Were they fully prepared for such an eruption? And we have seen clearly that they were. You have seen the destruction of disasters like that. Look at what? In the space of a couple of hours, we have seen over 50 persons lose their lives trying to escape the eruption. God forbid that any disaster was to hit Grenada again and we are not fully prepared. We must keep on trying our best to emphasize to our fellow brothers and sisters the importance of preparedness. Make no mistakes. Good morning and welcome. Good morning.
Yes, morning, brother.
Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing?
Yes, I just want to echo your concerns in terms of complacency and also the need for preparation. Indeed, in certain other parts of the world, persons are not enjoying the peace and tranquility as exists currently in our country. For instance, this morning, rain fell, sun shining. You understand? We going about our daily lives.
What a beautiful way to live in Grenada.
You mentioned Guatemala. It's a volcano erupting and sweeping away a community of persons. That is very tragic. Very tragic. And I know it speaks, it's more reason why we here in Grenada ought to be saying our prayers every time. We go to bed, we say prayers. We get up in the morning, we should give thanks and praise to the Creator for protecting us, for guiding us, keeping us whole, even though there are fellow citizens among us who may not be enjoying best of health or best of wealth or best of life, but in general, conditions are indeed encouraging. Today, the 5th of June, just want to direct persons' attention to the way we use plastic in this country.
Very important.
The world, United Nations has designated this day as World Environment Day, and he calls upon us to really be more conscious of what we do with the items we make use of, especially on a daily basis. Plastic, when we use them, let us try to dispose of them in a responsible way. Get it to the bin. Let us stop littering. Have mercy on the workers of the Grenada Solid Waste. You see, and even have mercy on the fishes in the sea, etc. When we throw these things in the drain, on the road side, etc., they get into the sea and they provide difficulties for the fishes. Some people are alarmed that in years to come there might be more plastic in the ocean than fishes. It's a serious concern.
It is. It is.
I know what measure we could take in terms of minimizing or trying to see control people's use
I think
or importations of certain food items.
Well, I think
plastics.
I think what is important, Doc, is the whole question of the awareness, the education of our people as to the importance of not using as much plastic and the proper disposal of them. You see, because over the years we have seen so many plastics all over the place, and it also ties in to the whole question of disaster preparedness. Now, if we continue to be dumping plastics and all these things indiscriminately all over the place, you know what will happen? Our drains become blocks, right? Our seashores, right?
Yes.
It creates additional hazards for us in case of a disaster.
Yes.
Right, and so the whole question of education is so important.
And these things create more receptacles for the for things like mosquitoes.
Exactly.
And
to breed, yeah.
Proliferate.
You know?
Understand?
Look at the whole question of dengue right now.
All these things are connected. So really and truly, when they say that cleanliness is next to godliness,
it is so true.
All of that's what we mean.
Yeah,
and when we say that your neighbor, you have to look we are our brother and our sister's keeper.
Oh yes.
We are not, and each one of us is not by him or herself an island. We are social beings. We live in communities. We have to take collective responsibility for the cleanliness, the proper upkeep and maintenance of our respective communities, and show equal respect when we leave our respective community and go into another community. You don't litter. You don't. I think we really, as a people, have to be more. You provide green spaces for persons, for instance, Tricentennial Park, where they can go, sit, relax, have a conversation,
wonderful
eat something.
view. Yeah.
But after the fact, you see the person dispose of whatever they use in a very, irresponsible manner. We have really to be more aware and take full responsibility for what we buy. It becomes us, and it is our duty to dispose of it in a proper way. You've been taught from childhood, at home, at school, and at play. You don't
bits
litter.
of papers,
Don't litter.
bits of papers, all these things. Yeah.
Yes. So I just want to reiterate this, on a day like today, people try not to use, make this day a no plastic day. No plastic item. You will not consume anything that is contained in plastic today.
Today, yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Have a wonderful day, sir. Yeah, it's so important. You see, the whole question of the preparedness and the healthiness of our nation. Because look, today, World Environment Day. What a day fitting for us to discuss that. Because you look at some of the things that we do, right, to help pollute the space that we live in. We indiscriminately dump all sorts of things that we know, right, would not disintegrate within, into the soil or whatever. We know it's not good to be throwing plastics and these type of things all over the place discriminately. We know that, but we continue to do it, right? We have to understand the dangers of doing these things. Education is key, and we have to start it in schools. We have to continue to teach our children the importance of not littering. Bits of papers, I learned that in school way back. You couldn't drop a piece of paper in the school and there's a bin right there. The teacher will give you 2 strokes and you have to pick up not just yours, but go around the class and pick up the papers. Let us continue to teach our children the importance of cleanliness. Very important. It ties into the whole question of disaster preparedness and the question of health. When we continue to discriminately just throw all these sorts of plastics and so, right? It gathers water. Mosquitoes begin to breed. The Aedes aegypti mosquito, right, is prominent in our country. It is a carrier of dengue disease. We have to be very important in the consequences of some of our actions. To every action, there's a reaction. When we continue to, litter indiscriminately, we create a problem for the health of our country. When disease like dengue and all these things run through our country, we see the burden it creates, right, for our government in terms of providing adequate health services to ensure that our nation remains healthy. It creates not chaos, but it creates situations, right, that brings burden to those who are managing the health society. No, but if we start from within our homes and the villages in keeping our surroundings clean, the rivers, right, our neighbor's backyard where you see all sorts of things dumping, talk to your neighbor, and together you can do something about it. Because remember, if there's an outbreak because of the mosquitoes that is gathering and all sorts of things, the rats and the mongoose, it is not just your neighbor. It's like a fire. Your neighbor house is on fire, you better wet yours. So before those houses catch a fire, you do everything to avoid it. Do not create the conditions. Let us be mindful of how important, brothers and sisters, health and wealth of our country, the importance of disaster preparedness. It is not just preparing to go to a shelter in case of a hurricane, right? But the things that surrounds it, the things that we can do to prevent disasters from threatening us more than it have to. Now imagine that we have a clean surroundings, we have clean drains and so around. Imagine when the water is in the free flow, what will happen? Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and how are you?
Good morning, not too bad, ma'am, and how are you?
Well, not bad, you know. I want to make a complaint.
Go right ahead.
Around the area here in Lamont. You have a leak of water. A leak of water. What giving us some trouble around here. The water pile up in a drain by my neighbor, and he giving us well west. He don't have no way to run, and the water is black, and he having frog mosquito. When you in the night when you lie down, you see all the frog and them jumping all on the window, all in the back.
That is a serious situation.
I call the ministry and everything, and I tell them about that. And still for all, we don't see nobody.
Which area you say that is?
Which
area it is?
Lamont, St. George's.
Lamont, okay. Give me a better description at what part of Lamont?
Lamont is after your passport coming up when you reach the first bridge.
Okay, are we around?
In the bottom road by a barber shop. You meet the barber shop and you come down in that direction. You don't go up. You come when you reach by the Catholic Church. You have a barber shop right there. You come in the road below.
So you're talking
right in, and when you come in right in, you is a upstairs and downstairs green, all in green house. You meet a orange one, then you meet mine. You meet the neighborhood next door there, and then you go to the other one.
All right, so
it's right in the entrance, right there. The water is something else.
Okay, so
so
the area.
And they're so big when you kill them. All I see is red. You see.
Okay, so let me be clear. It's right after the bridge, where the community center was. Then,
no, well, you're passing there.
right, no, I'm saying right after the bridge is right on your left-hand side.
Yes, coming
Okay,
in.
I have an idea. So what I will do, right? I will try and do my best to get in touch with the persons in the Ministry of Health who is responsible for like the vector control and all these type of things. And
Because
see,
I call them, when I call, I talk to the fella say, you come the next day, a whole month and something, and go to the minister. The minister say, you will send somebody. I say, well, you would have sent somebody yesterday, but nobody come.
okay, so I tell you what, right? I will do my best to get in touch with the people in the Ministry of Health and let them know exactly where it is, and we'll see what it goes from there, okay?
Yeah, because I thought, no, when I tell the minister about it, I thought he himself would have come to see it.
Well, perhaps it's not necessary. Perhaps if he may have been in contact with the people in the Ministry of Health and so on, perhaps for whatever reason they have not yet reached on your area. But I think it's a cause for serious concern, so I will do some follow-up, and hopefully within the next couple of days something can be done for it. Okay?
Thankful.
All right.
I will be thankful because you can't sleep in the night. In the night when you lie down to sleep, you hear in them fog and them making noise in your head.
All right.
So
Okay.
You hear in the mosquito, all of that.
Okay, Mommy. So I'll do my best and see what we can do for you, okay?
Okay then.
All right.
Thank you.
And you have a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay, take care. God bless you.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, and these are some of the concerns that we need people to emphasize on. In your village, you see areas that are creating, swamp for mosquitoes breeding, for areas in which, rodents are congregating and multiplying and all these type of things. We need either for you to do something about it as a community or individuals, or to inform the Ministry of Health and not just talk to them. Even if you talk to them once and they have not replied or come, continue to follow up with that. Remember, it is your well-being, it's your health, it is your wealth, right? Because the people in the Ministry of Health may not be living in your area, but you and your neighbors is living there. And you cannot afford for no one, because of negligence by whoever, not paying attention to that, for an entire community to get sick. So we have to be proactive, right? Even if we contact the Ministry of Health and they are slow in coming, or for whatever reason they have not showed up as yet, let us as a community come together and try to do something of these areas, right? It would not just affect the person closest. It's an old saying, and Bob Marley always say that when the rain fall, it don't fall on one man's house top. Remember that, right? Areas and activities like that, breeding grounds for mosquitoes and areas for rodents and so to multiply, we need to pay attention to them and to do something about it. It's about time, right? As a people, we begin to have that community spirit in us. Let us get away from that selfish attitude that we continue to have when it comes to the well-being of our health and our nation. Remember, we have a generation to protect. Stop being selfish about the things that we do and accommodate around us. If you are guilty of harboring old derelict vehicles and garbage, fridge and all things around your areas, do something about it. And to you, the communities out there who are passing by Mr. So-and-so and they have their fridge, garage and the old garage and so with all sort of derelict vehicle and garbage around. Look, there's someone on the line. Good morning. We lost that caller. So please call back. Look, it is a serious situation here. Let us not bypass persons because they might be influential within our society or our community, because they Mr. this or Mr. that, and they are harboring things that can be detrimental to the community. No, we cannot. We have to call them out. Good morning and welcome.
Oh, Good morning, Mr. Romain.
Good morning, my friend, and how you doing?
Know, I just went and have a look for Dr. Thomas so he could send you some pressure pills up there. don't yeah. All right. Good morning to your listening audience, both here and abroad. You know, Devon, we are in this season, and I listen to you expressing your concern. Now, the question I'm asking, when it comes to disaster preparedness, tell me what we don't know about disaster preparedness in terms of preparation. Tell me what we don't know. Now, based on where we are living, tell me what we don't know about evacuation. We should know. NAGMA over the years, you know, listen, Devon, I mean, I wouldn't express it publicly, but I have a certain kind of mindset when it comes to people that ignore such certain warnings on a daily basis, and when they get themselves in trouble, they run into the powers that be, to the authority to rescue them, You understand? I wouldn't say what I feel about people like that publicly, you know what I mean, on radio. But we have to be firm. You know where you live. You know the circumstances that exist around you in terms of in terms of a disaster, and you should take all the necessary precaution. Now, what's I telling you on a daily basis? The amount of water you should have stored in case, not just for an emergency, in case we have a broken main and you cannot get water. But look at that. We have people, after 2 days of a broken main, they call in on the radio, they want to cut now what's Mr. Husband neck off for water, and it's only 2 days that's gone. We have to be prepared. Yes. No, give me a second. Let me say this here, Devon, because I can't avoid the politics. Yeah, listen to this. You don't vote for me, but you want to tell me how to run the country. You want to see me dead, but you're giving me the most advice on how to live long. You have the most nasty and wrong thing to say about the debushing program, but you're concerned the most about the program not yet started. Devon?
Confusing.
Yeah, listen. I mean, sometimes if you're not careful, there are people that will make you believe you go to school during recess time. No, that is my last point here. Why we have people, that is especially for Grenville in my hometown, why we have people occupying the sidewalk illegally, preventing the free movements of people on the sidewalk illegally, while we have people on a daily basis, paying a daily fee to sell in our market, which are our legitimate place of business. Why, Mr. Romain? Why we having that? And last but not least, to the Port Authority, what is the tardiness involved in the opening up of the booths in the Grenville bus terminal? What is the tardiness involved in this? Because, I'm saying this at Devon because, listen, man, we have people that academically have the qualification to perform certain job responsibility. So when we see certain things not being done over a period of time, it leaves me with no other alternative but to question it, and to question, not the ability of people in the position, you understand, to carry out their responsibility. I don't want to go that far. But I'm saying, if we are paying people, we have boards, we have committees, you name them, we have them. What is the tardiness when it comes to the Grenville bus terminal booth? That is my question. Brother, to you and your listening audience, have a pleasant day.
Good day, my friend. Yes, thanks for your contribution. Just to continue on my point, and when it comes to things like derelict vehicles and garbages like white goods, as they call it, fridge and stove and galvanized, and also we have been seen, and we know who the culprits are. They are within your communities. We are seen on a daily basis, passing on a daily basis, and seeing persons having vehicles parked in front of the yard or on the side of the road for years now, and nothing has been done about it. We are seeing people continue to have a set of garbage all around their place, like old fridge and stove and so that can store water to harbor mosquito, which is dangerous for our health. Right? We have seen the continuation of people just indiscriminately just disposing of garbage all alongside our river beds and everything. And we know who they are. We know who they are. But because he's a truck owner and he's Mr. This and that, and so, or a business owner or some influential person within the community or the parish, we tend to turn a blind eye. We cannot afford to continue along that path. We have to be mindful of our health, because our health is our wealth. We continue to harbor these sort of things and go unnoticed, we have a serious problem in our country. Good morning and welcome. Good morning. Good morning, Kami. Good morning to you, Camille.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
She can't hear me. Kami, good morning. Good morning to you.
Hello.
I'm listening to you, Kami.
Morning. Good morning.
I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Romain.
Yes, my dear.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Oh, yeah, I guess that. Good morning, you hearing me?
Yes, I hear you, Kami.
All right. Well, good morning to you, sir, and good morning to Sheldon Scott, wherever he is. Good morning, and good morning to all my friends in Grenada, Carl, Martin. I just finished 5 minutes advance. Good morning, sir. All that good morning. And to Patricia and Matthew, good morning. To Mr. Watts and Jimbo and all the Grenadians in England and America and Canada. It's a beautiful day today. Mr. Devon.
Yes, my dear.
Mr. Devon.
Yes, darling, I'm listening
Listen to me.
Yes.
Watch us fight for a road in Keju. And these people give us a lovely, nice environment. But to be honest speaking, I was speaking about community. We don't have that up there. We don't have that community spirit between ourselves. We like a crab in a barrel trying to pull on each other. When I pass the road there in the morning and evening, and I look at the condition of the drain, Mr. Romain, and the condition of that place, it hurts my heart. You know what I tell you? If I could have afforded to keep that little village and the end where I live clean, I'd do it. But I don't have the health. I cannot do by myself because I have a sick leg. I'm not making an excuse because I cannot do it. Then I got the water and the bush and the garbage is being thrown around, and we have a garbage passing inside on Tuesday and Friday. And it hurt my heart, knowing how they was and how they come. You understand? If you find them now, you're going to see what I'm talking about. And the next thing is, Mr. Romain, whenever I call any radio station and I complain about things in the village I live, we have neighbors with a vet, and they say you're throwing one. You understand? We should keep that place so clean and nice. We should keep that so clean and nice because we get a wonderful road. Queen's Company did us a wonderful job, but we don't have the unity. We don't have the unity between ourselves, right? And that is the fact.
All right, my dear.
When they have to go to church, they will tell you come. When they come to the church, but the unity between themselves as neighbors, we don't have that. That we are not going to church and sit down in the church with them people on it. You understand? The whole people say charity begins at home. I try to keep around my little house clean, but when the neighbor is cleaning shows, the rat coming over, the mongoose coming over, and when you pass next morning, they have got things to see. And it's not nice. If these people had money, because the people, these petty bourgeois people, they won't have bomb smoke to smoke them. They won't show no one. But they still, because it's Mr. Me, as a man that speak out, they have nasty things to see. But I would love the people to get to know me before they say the dirty things they say. Have a blessed day.
Okay, Camille, you have a wonderful day. Yes, and so important. I mean, again, we cannot stop emphasizing the importance of disaster preparedness. And as we wind down, coming close to the end, we got about 5 or 10 more minutes of our program, right? I want to continue to stay, all right, to emphasize the importance of the disaster preparedness. Persons to volunteer, right, to come out and help be shelter managers, to take part in the efforts to help secure your village, your community in case of a disaster. We must not continue to scorn people or segregate people from serving, right, for their country in capacities like these. We have to continue to encourage people. Good morning, Mr. Prime Minister, and to all the members of Parliament and the ministers. Good morning to you. Hello. Good morning. Good morning and welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning and welcome. You're live.
Yes, this is Hard Talk.
Yes, ma'am, you're live.
Yeah. I have, it's a major concern because this problem's been going on for years. Can I speak to you off air after the show program?
Okay, yes, you can call me just as the program goes off. You can call me right after. Okay, I'll be waiting.
As soon as it goes off, I'll call you.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, and I really want to, as I said, continue to emphasize the importance of disaster preparedness. As a people, we must be prepared to be part of the preparedness of our country. When a disaster strikes, it does not only affect me, it affects you and you and you. Yes, every one of us in some way or the other. The slide or the shortage of water may not hamper in your village, but it's a ripple effect. Something else may, because of that, it will contribute another effect. My brothers and sisters, as we move into, as we call the disaster season, the hurricane season, the official hurricane season, which started on the 1st of June, I want us to continue to be mindful of how important yours, my services, right, when it comes to the development, the protection, and the preparedness of our country. Get your family together. Explain to the younger ones the importance of being prepared. Let them know what they need to do in the case of a hurricane or earthquake or a volcano or a tsunami. Educate yourself, the heads of the homes, the mothers, the fathers, the bigger brothers and sisters, the aunties, and then educate yourself of these disasters so you can guide the younger ones as to the things that they must do in case disasters strike. Let us not continue to wait on NAGMA or government officials to direct the path of readiness for us in our household. Let us take the initiative, my brothers and sisters, to continue to prepare ourselves our first aid kits, the storage of water, right? The duct tapes, the cutlass, the batteries, the lights, whatever is needed to better prepare yourself in case a disaster strike. We must be proactive. If you see your neighbor is not being prepared and you understand the seriousness of the disaster, get them prepared. Emphasize on them the importance of them being prepared. Let us continue to be our neighbor's keeper. Let us continue to look out for the neighbors and even yourself in harboring goods that is harmful to us in the community. The mosquito breeding places, the rodent places where you have the old houses and derelict vehicles and so that help breed these things. Let us come together and rid of them once and for all. Let us not compromise on our health. Let us not continue to say, oh, it is Mr. This and Mr. That, so we can't complain on him. No. If he or she is causing a problem for the community, let us be man and woman enough to go to them and have a dialogue with them and have them do something about it. Together, my friends, together, we can make this country a safer, cleaner, healthier place to live in. We must ensure that the preparedness is not just for NAGMA, but as for us as a people. Let us be more proactive. Let us help continue to educate ourselves. Let us be mindful of those who cannot help themselves, the disabled, the young ones, the blind, whoever. In case of a disaster, my friends, right, everyone tends to lose. But together, if we do this thing together, if we help prepare our homes and our communities and the nation, rest assured, in case a disaster strike, we will be much better prepared, right, to do what is necessary. I implore of you, I continue to emphasize to you the importance of doing that. It is this time when we're about to end our program. Thanks all for listening today. It has been a pleasure. My name is Devon Romain, and we'll see you again tomorrow, please God, with another presentation of Hard Talk. Peace out.
After returning the country on a sound economic footing, the new National Party government began releasing a number of developmental projects across the country, some of which were done by investors, both local and foreign, under the Citizenship by Investment program. Sharia Noel visited some of these projects, updates us on the work done, and tells the story of those who have benefited.
The Keith Mitchell administration stormed back to government in February 2013, promising to revive an economy left battered by the previous administration. Dr. Mitchell's new National Party promised to attract local and foreign investment as part of an overall plan to return stability to the economy and cut skyrocketing unemployment. The task was indeed challenging. Foreign investment projects that came to Grenada over the past 5 years include the Silver Sands Grenada, a $65 million U.S. investment luxury hotel and private villas. General Manager Christian Langlade confirms that confidence in the new National Party administration is the reason behind this significant investment.
The main reason why we are here and our investors chose Grenada is the great support that was extended by the government. Everybody has been extremely thoughtful and attentive in helping us to settle, whether it is on a legal point of view, a social point of view. We have very close relationship with the educational system, both for young apprentice or whether it be TAMCC, even the private sector like the university, St. George's University, that have been extremely good to help. So on all fronts, we have been duly guided, and thanks to the constant support of Minister Steele and the cabinet members, the Minister of Tourism, we are being constantly guided and helped in our mission, and it's a joint effort that will definitely lead to a great success. So I'm not sure everybody fully appreciates the intensity of our project and where we are, what we are aiming at doing, but on the very short term, it's 180 direct employments, very probably an additional 120, 150 subcontractors and suppliers. And obviously, if things are going well, there's no reason why we should stop at this current investment, and would like to do more, because both we feel that the destination deserves for more and also has everything going for itself to increase again the size of the accommodations being offered and the caliber of operations.
Another of the major investments came through the Citizen by Investment program that aided in the expansion at Mount Cinnamon. Director of Savvy Grenada, Barry Colomo, explains.
We are going to double the size of our resort just based on citizenship by investment. And that speaks volumes. So, already we've had to employ more people because we have more rooms. Continue to offer a high quality product which our customers expect. In terms of jobs, so all of these new suites and villas have to be built. So immediately there's construction jobs, but then there's sustainable direct jobs because you have a bigger resort, and there's more work for the ancillary services.
In the north of the island, Grenada has spent $4.6 million on the St. Patrick Breakwater project that employed some 30 people and returned the beachfront.
Perhaps the breakwater is the catalyst, will be the catalyst, because then there is access to the water up here, which at the moment there isn't. And so it will open up all sorts of opportunities up here, and I think all sorts of development will follow. So we are very excited about it.
The Olivera Nature and Beach Resort Tourism Development Project, also in the north of the island, has seen some $10 million invested to date.
They are primarily from the St. Patrick Parish. So we have Riversalia, of course, Rose Hill, Satyrs. We also have from Tivoli, and there are also some persons from the St. Andrew Parish as well. So we're sticking more to the northern side of the island since our project is based here. Going forward, once the project is complete, obviously once we're up and running, there will be the opportunity for quite a few Grenadians to be employed. We would need restaurant staff, we would need our sanitary and cleaning staff, bar management, front desk and receptionist, housekeeping, landscaping and farming. So there'll be quite a lot of opportunities for persons to fully join and become part of our family going forward.
Another significant investment during the period under review is that of the redevelopment of what was known as Flamboyant Hotel. The new name is the Kempton Brandon Kiwana Bay, a 4.5-star international luxury beach resort overlooking one of the world's most pristine white sand beaches in Monroe, St. George, to the tune of $125 million. The Kiwana Bay project began in January 2016 and has created employment for over 60 people. Other major projects coming to the island, creating jobs and building the economy, includes the Clarkscourt Bay Marina, that has invested $45 million to date, generating 35 permanent jobs. The Point at Pitti Calavini Resort, which began in 2016, presently employs 80 construction workers and is expected to have 50 permanent employees on completion. Hideaway True Blue, a $21 million condominium development, is also well on the way. Also, the Keith Mitchell administration in the past 5 years has spent a significant sum on construction of bridges and road repairs throughout the state. Construction, which has expanded considerably, has played a major role in reviving the Grenada economy between 2013 and 2018. I am Sherry Noel.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.